Have you ever been insulted so deeply that it felt like something hit you straight in the chest? A careless or intentional comment that pierced right into your self-respect. You know you shouldn't overreact, yet the words keep replaying in your mind, like a small thorn you can't pull out. Why do insults have such power? And more importantly, how can you stay calm in the very moment when every instinct inside you wants to explode? Imagine you're holding an umbrella in the middle of a powerful storm. The wind is so strong that it flips the umbrella inside out, smacks you in the face, and frustrates you more than it protects you. An insult works the same way. You think that reacting immediately will help you defend your honor, but the tighter you grip it, the more you get pulled into the storm of your emotions. Only when you lower the umbrella do you realize you can walk through the storm much more smoothly. Stoicism, the philosophy of Marcus Aurelius, teaches us that it is not what others say that hurts us, but how we allow those words to stick to us. You cannot control whether others are rude or respectful, but you can always control your own response. And when you master your reaction, the insult loses all the power it once had. In this video, we will dive into Stoic-based ways of responding, approaches that not only help you stay calm when you're insulted, but also help you become stronger, wiser, and more self-controlled in every relationship. And especially don't skip the final section, because it may completely change the way you view conflict and respond to rudeness. If you're ready to begin the inner training that Marcus Aurelius practiced every single day, sit down, relax, and let's explore together. Method 1. Create a pause before you react. Most of the mistakes we make when we feel insulted do not come from the other person's words. They come from the moment we react too quickly. An insult lasts only a few seconds, but a rushed reaction can create consequences that last for hours, even weeks. That is why Marcus Aurelius always reminded himself, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies your freedom. When someone insults you, the first thing that rises is not logic. It is a wave of emotion. Your heart beats faster, your breathing gets heavier, your body tightens as if it's ready to strike back immediately. But that very moment, the moment when you most want to retaliate, is exactly the moment you need to pause. Because when you create even the smallest pause, you take back all the control the insulter is trying to steal from you. Imagine you're holding a full glass of water. If someone intentionally bumps your hand, the water will spill everywhere if you react suddenly. But if you hold your hand steady for just 1 second, you prevent the spill. That brief pause is exactly what helps you preserve your calm and keep your emotions from taking control of your actions. I remember a story about Serena, a woman working at a media company. During a crowded meeting, a colleague made a sarcastic remark, saying her idea was naive and not on the right level. All eyes turned to Serena, expecting a tense confrontation. But Serena didn't react immediately. She took a slow, deep breath, held it for a few seconds, and then replied in a calm, steady voice, "Thank you for your comment. I'll consider it further." And you can probably guess what happened next. The entire meeting room respected her more, while the person who insulted her ended up looking small. Serena's pause didn't just help her avoid conflict, it proved that she was in control of herself, not a slave to her emotions. And that is the essence of Stoicism. A pause is not weakness. It is self-control. It is you refusing to let someone else take command of your mind. And with just those few seconds, you win the most important battle of all, the battle against your own emotions. Method 2. Reinterpret the insult. One of the strongest mental skills Stoicism teaches us is the ability to reinterpret, to reframe what happens to us. Not because we want to sugarcoat everything, but because we understand that the true meaning of an insult does not lie in its sound, but in the way we interpret it. A single sentence can hurt you or not touch you at all, depending on how you choose to see it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed, it is not because of the thing itself, but because of your judgment of it." When someone insults you, the instinctive reaction is to believe that their words contain some truth about you. But most of the time, an insult is not an objective truth. It is merely a mirror reflecting the insecurity, jealousy, frustration, or pressure that the other person is carrying inside. What they say does not reveal who you are. It only reveals who they are. Imagine you're looking at yourself in a distorted mirror. The reflection looks strange, twisted, nothing like who you really are. You would never blame yourself for looking bad in that reflection because you know the problem isn't you, it's the mirror. An insult works the same way. It is a warped image coming from a mind full of cracks. When you understand this, the words no longer hit you the same way. You don't feel wounded anymore. You simply see a distorted mirror reflecting itself. I remember the story of Adrian, a young man living in Texas. During a family gathering, his cousin made a harsh comment, saying that Adrian's simple life proved he had no future. In the very first moment, Adrian felt a sharp sting inside, but then he noticed the tension on his cousin's face. A man who had been overwhelmed with work, financial pressure, and the fear of not achieving the success he expected for himself. Adrian understood that insult wasn't truly meant for him. It was simply an echo of the insecurity his cousin had no place to put. Adrian smiled gently and said, "Living simply gives me peace. I hope you find something that gives you that feeling too." And just like a shadow exposed to light, his cousin's bitterness disappeared instantly. When you change the way you interpret an insult, you are no longer dragged down by it. You stand taller. You see things more clearly. You are no longer the victim of someone's words. You become the observer. And when you become the observer, you become the one in control. Method 3, choose silence instead of reacting. There is a kind of strength that only truly self-controlled people possess, the strength of silence. Not the silence of fear, not the silence of surrender, but the silence of a steady mind, one that cannot be shaken by someone else's noise. When someone insults you, the natural reaction is to respond, to defend yourself with words, to restore fairness. But Stoicism teaches that sometimes silence itself is the most powerful voice. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If something does not make you better, let it pass." An insult rarely carries any real value. It doesn't teach you, it doesn't elevate you, it doesn't help you grow. So why hold on to it and weigh yourself down? Imagine you're standing in the ocean. The waves crash against you, but if you don't resist, they naturally recede. Reacting with anger only exhausts you, but standing still in silence, that is how you let the wave dissolve on its own. An old story tells of a Greek philosopher walking through the market when a drunk man began shouting terrible insults at him. The crowd gathered, waiting to see him lose his temper, but he simply walked away in silence, his face showing not the slightest hint of irritation. When his student asked why he didn't respond, he replied, "If someone offers you a poisonous gift and you refuse to take it, then who does the gift belong to?" That answer made the student understand. Silence is a response, but it is the most dignified form of refusal. Your silence is not submission. It is a declaration that you are not controlled by impulsive emotions and you refuse to be pulled into the low energy the other person is carrying. It is you choosing your own peace instead of participating in a meaningless conflict. The wonderful thing is this: silence not only protects you, it also disarms the person who insults you. When they don't get the reaction they expected, they lose their footing. They are forced to confront the irrationality of their own words. Next time someone tries to drag you into a battle you don't want to fight, remember, you owe them no argument. Your silence may be the strongest, sharpest, and most elegant response you can give. Method 4, separate your emotions from the situation. Most of the pain we feel comes from the fact that we merge ourselves with our emotions. When someone insults us, we don't just hear the words. We let them pierce our heart, and then we let our minds spin around them endlessly. But Stoicism teaches something entirely different. You are not your emotions. You are the observer of them. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, emotions are only passing vibrations. See them as drifting clouds, not the sky itself. And when you see an insult as a cloud passing by instead of a storm crashing into you, its power over you decreases instantly. Imagine you're standing by the roadside watching traffic pass. Each car is an emotion: anger, embarrassment, irritation, wounded pride. They rush by, loud and fast, but you don't have to chase any of them. You only need to stand still and watch them pass. An insult works the same way. It is just a car driving past your life. It's only when you jump onto it, cling to it, and let it drag you along that you actually get hurt. There is an old story in which a student asked his teacher, "How can I avoid being offended?" The teacher handed him a stone and said, "Insult it." The student, confused, did as he was told. He cursed, shouted, and scolded, yet the stone lay there, still and untouched. The teacher then said, "Do you see? It does not hurt because it does not accept your words as truth. You are the same. If you do not accept what others say as truth, it cannot hurt you." What the teacher meant was not that we must become cold like a stone, but that we must learn to stand firm like one in the face of meaningless disturbances. Emotional detachment is not the denial of your feelings. It is observing them from a distance, like a cloud passing across the sky of your mind. You allow them to appear, you acknowledge the discomfort, but you do not let them decide your actions. When you choose to respond based on your values instead of fleeting emotions, you become the one in control, not the one being controlled. The next time someone insults you, pause for a moment and remind yourself, this is just a feeling. It will pass. When you refuse to let your emotions carry you away, the insult loses its power, and you become free. Not because others have become kinder, but because you are no longer a prisoner of your own emotions. Julian, a young entrepreneur in Texas, went through a lesson just like that. At a community gathering, an older businessman mocked him in front of everyone. "Your approach is childish. No one takes you seriously." A few quiet laughs followed. Everyone waited for Julian to react, to get triggered, to lose his composure. But Julian simply stood still for a few seconds, exactly the kind of pause Stoicism encourages. Then he spoke slowly. "Thank you for sharing. I'll think about that." The room suddenly went silent, and the surprising part was that the very man who insulted him became embarrassed. At the end of the event, he walked up to Julian, shook his hand, and spoke in a much softer tone. Julian had passed the test, not by striking back, but by proving he was stronger than the provocation. An insult, after all, is an opportunity to ask yourself, is my reaction driven by emotion or by self-control? Can others easily pull me out of my peace? Do I truly control my mind as much as I think I do? Every time you remain calm in the face of an insult, you earn another point on your own personal exam. And each time you pass, you become deeper, steadier, and harder to shake. An insult is not a barrier. It is a test. And overcoming that test is how you build inner strength, the kind no one can ever take away. Method 6. Let go of the ego. When someone insults you, the first thing that gets hurt is not your heart. It is your ego. The ego is the reason meaningless words can sting. Without the ego, an insult is just sound passing by. But when the ego rises, we instantly feel the need to defend, to prove, to respond. Stoicism helps us see this clearly. Most of the pain comes from inside us, not from the outside. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, remove the ego and nothing can hurt you. When you read that in stillness, you realize it is not advice to ignore everything. It is a reminder that the ego is the doorway through which pain enters. The wider that door is, the easier it is for you to get hurt. Imagine your mind as a calm, flat lake. When the surface is smooth, a single pebble dropping into it creates only a few gentle ripples before disappearing. But if the lake is filled with sharp rocks, representing an inflated ego, even the smallest disturbance creates loud noise and heavy disruption. The bigger the ego, the easier it is for you to be shaken. Thomas, an office worker in New Jersey, went through something very similar. One of his co-workers, Mark, would openly belittle him in meetings. "Your ideas are always childish." At first, every time Thomas heard that, his face burned with anger. He felt he had to strike back to defend his dignity. But the more he reacted, the more Mark escalated. One day, Thomas's mentor asked him, "Are you angry because what he said is true, or because your ego can't stand being belittled?" The question was like a mirror held directly to his inner world. From that day on, Thomas changed. He realized that Mark's words did not define him. They were simply a reflection of Mark's own insecurity. And when Thomas stopped taking them as a personal attack, his ego was no longer triggered. He stayed calm in the face of every jab. And the remarkable thing was this: once Thomas stopped reacting, Mark lost all interest in attacking him. Letting go of the ego does not mean allowing others to say whatever they want without consequence. Letting go of the ego means refusing to let their words define your worth. It means understanding that you do not need to win every verbal battle. It means knowing that dignity is not found in your comeback, but in your inner stillness. When the ego becomes smaller, you become greater. Method 7. Turn insults into compliments. There is a subtle art that only truly strong people have the courage to use. Turning an insult into a compliment, not to confuse others, but to prove that your peace does not belong in anyone else's hands. This is a skill Stoicism considers the highest form of self-mastery. Because to do this, you must be grounded enough that negative words no longer have any power over you. When someone insults you, there is one thing they expect. They want a negative reaction from you. They want you to get angry, become defensive, or at the very least show that you're hurt. But when you smile and turn their words into something positive, you leave them stunned. Their anger suddenly becomes misplaced because it has nothing to cling to. Stoicism does not teach you to retaliate. It teaches you to rise above the pettiness of others. And turning an insult into a compliment is one of the most subtle ways to do exactly that. I'm reminded of the story of Clara, a young designer in San Diego. Clara was very firm in her views, but sometimes that firmness made people label her as stubborn. During a meeting, a colleague said sarcastically, "Clara is always so stubborn. No one can ever convince her." Everyone in the room waited for a reaction. If Clara had gotten angry, the situation would have escalated immediately. But she simply offered a soft smile and replied, "Thank you. I call that consistency. From my perspective, that's a strength." The tension in the room disappeared instantly. Several people even laughed, while the colleague who tried to insult her froze for a few seconds. Because the very comment he intended to use to belittle Clara ended up highlighting one of her strengths. That is the power of redefining. When you turn an insult into a compliment, you don't just diffuse the situation. You show that you are confident enough that someone else's words cannot touch your worth. Turning an insult into a compliment is not a wordplay trick. It is a declaration that you cannot be shaken. It shows that you have risen above the low energy the other person brings. And most importantly, you do it not to embarrass them, but to protect your own peace. Remember this: a strong person is not the one who wins every argument, but the one who knows how to transform an attack into a confident smile. Method 8. Respond with kindness. Among all the ways to handle insults, responding with kindness is perhaps the most unexpected, and the one that requires the greatest inner strength. True kindness does not come from weakness. It comes from control, from the ability to remain steady while others lose their balance, from choosing your values instead of reacting to their emotions. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Let your first response be kindness, if possible." And within that simple statement lies tremendous power. When someone insults you, they expect a certain kind of reaction: anger, embarrassment, hurt, or a counterattack. They want you to fall into the same low-energy space they are operating from. But when you respond with kindness, with a gentle comment, a calm smile, or a courteous action, you break the entire trajectory they set up. You not only throw them off balance, but you also force them to confront themselves. I remember the story of Ethan, a server at a restaurant in Los Angeles. During a busy evening, an irritable customer shouted in his face, "You're the worst server I've ever had." The whole room turned to look, and the atmosphere tightened like a stretched string. But Ethan didn't get angry. He didn't argue. He didn't escalate the hostility. He simply smiled and replied, "I'm very sorry if your experience hasn't been good. Let me make the rest of your evening better." And he truly followed through. He brought the food out faster, checked in at the right moments, and even offered a complimentary dessert. At the end of the meal, the customer walked up to him, eyes lowered, and quietly said, "I'm sorry, I behaved poorly." Ethan didn't need to defend himself with anger. His kindness alone exposed the unreasonable behavior of the other person without hurting anyone. Responding with kindness does not mean letting others step on you. It means refusing to let them pull you down to their level of energy. You keep your integrity, your peace, and your dignity, things far more valuable than any small victory in an argument. Kindness is not surrender. Kindness is a powerful declaration. I choose to act according to my values, not according to your chaos. When you walk through these 8 ways of responding, you will realize an important truth. An insult never had real power. The only power it ever had was the power you unconsciously gave it. And when you train your mind in the spirit of Stoicism, pausing, reframing, staying silent, detaching from emotions, seeing every challenge as a test, letting go of the ego, transforming the situation with wisdom, and responding with kindness, you take that power back. You become the one who controls your reactions instead of letting your reactions control you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "Your mind will take the shape of the thoughts you allow into it." So when someone insults you, what matters is not what they say, but what you choose to let enter your mind. You can choose anger, you can choose to hurt, but you can also choose calm, choose steadiness, choose the dignity they cannot touch. If this video helps you see conflict with more clarity, leave a comment. I choose peace, not just to support the video, but as a promise to yourself that from today on, you will no longer let someone else's words dictate your emotions. Hit like to help spread this message to those who need it. And don't forget to subscribe to continue the journey with the deep lessons of Marcus Aurelius and Stoic philosophy. A path that helps you become stronger, calmer, and freer in the face of life's insults.